And welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Mokanaman at YouTube with a lovely photo from Animanga a few months ago. Today I will be building a custom kit which was entered in the group Build Fighters try on the Gundam Club Australia Facebook group. Now this basic rundown of this competition, it's pretty much build your own personalised Gundam that you probably would have used in the series or anime, or if battling Gunpla was absolutely possible. So I took up to the challenge and delved into a HGUC and Qubeley. Also, not doing anything too serious after the Gunpla Builders World Cup, besides that diorama. I really wanted to go all out in a modification project. The Qubeley was built out of box as a base kit. Very, very lovely model. A couple of places where the pegs can be reinforced, but had a fairly good time. And had bits and pieces off HGUC. Wanted to use the head, shield, whatnot, as well as the Gunpla Builders Parts radar or radome set. Sort of wanted to jazz that across the whole kit and give that series a bit of a move along, as well as a lot of signature plating, mixing of parts, and magnetisation, as well as putty work. Early on the piece was quite easy, just glued and mucked around with the radar pieces in a configuration I liked, including a bit of wire. Then went to bulk out and make the feet more grunt Zionic like. Scratch built it using a lot of putty, bit of styrene, and adding thrusters underneath. The chest was a lot of work, as well as the torso. Lots of dremeling. Added and cut it up the chest piece of the HGUC, as well as the HGUC head on top with a magnet, and extended quite a nice, large, curvy, manly codpiece at the front, because I am totally mature. Plus, I'm completely a big fan of Black Adder by Rowan Atkinson, and kind of like the look of the Black Russian, if anybody knows what I mean. The rear of the legs had more HGUC parts to make the profile of the legs far fatter and wider. Thrusters added under there, and the forearms of the HGUC as well. Machine guns were sculpted in, and lots of putty to round off and make the body a lot more fuller. Pipe work on the side of the upper leg, tiny radars on the knee joints, as well as one inserted into the chest. Not employing the Zimmerit technique with two-part epoxy putty for a very long time, I covered this model from head to toe in the stuff. Very tedious job, a little more than a week to complete. Slowly, piece by piece, as you can see in the photo layout. And what areas did not receive the Zimmerit treatment got the cast iron effect, using squadron putty smeared across with ever so light sanding, leaving the puttied ripple effects. Our weapon was also scratch built, a long Danax using putty, styrene, and metal. The whole model was primed using Mr. Hobby Black 500 Finishing Surfer Primer, then followed of shading and multiple layers of colours like dark grey, German grey, and a bit of shading in the dark areas with black and white on top. MOTD has been very generous in giving me some great painting advice, and would definitely want to invest more time and learn a lot more on light-based shading. And it was a fun experiment, as well as pre and post shading. The rest of the details were hand painted, touch of weathering around the feet, as well as a finish matte coat applied to everything multiple times. final touch-ups included the reflective gemstone in the head to represent the mono eye, bit of wash, bit of pigment weathering, and of course the final clear coat sealant. Some of the camera lenses were glossed up a bit. And in the end, the final result, even though it is a monochromed model, I am absolutely happy and pleased with it. The shading is far too not very noticeable or subtle to my taste. I wanted something a lot more heavier and noticeable, but without light source, it does look interesting. It has a bit of definition. But generally, this was the finished product I was looking for, and couldn't have been more pleased. Now for the guidelines of the group build itself. The idea was to build a machine that would represent you or be of your personality if you were to enter a Fighters Build Cup. And obviously I'm very fond of Zeonic machines. GCA is probably my most favourite mobile suit, and I've just got a real thing for the Qubeley. I think it's very cool. The whole concept of how it portrayed itself in the anime and the funnel weapons and whatnot. Very overpowering, very ahead of its time. And another aspect of the hobby that I thoroughly enjoy, tank and armour modelling. Went for a Second World War German grey urban tank look. And the Zimmerit is obviously a tribute to the Second World War in texturing and looks. Unfortunately, the actual Zimmerit texturing confused a lot of people in their feedback of the model. I also enjoy melee combat. I'm very into the medieval period, reenactment and swordsmanship. Wanted something a bit different. Every Gundam's got a sword, beam saber, whatever. I thought the Danax, very long pole axe, which is very advantaged against shield and sword combat, was an absolute nice and fine touch. So overall, I've got this reconnaissance, heavily armoured, tankish, hand-to-hand axe-wielding Zeon suit. And if I was to have anything that I ever wanted in a mobile suit, I think this would be the design and the colour scheme. Now, between this, the Gaza Sea diorama, and the Dry Sea weathering job, would be the three best pieces I put out this year. In the following time to come, because the year's just about to wrap up, and I'll be thinking about my Gunpla Builders World Cup entry for next year. I'm very satisfied with how it was built, assembled, whatnot, but I'm definitely going to work and improve in shading and airbrushing and adding more definition and heavier, lighter and darker tones. I think that would come to a major advantage, as well as with the 3D printer on the scene. A lot of cool things can be expected from customs in the future. But all in all, I'm very pleased with this build, and I've just got pride of place on the display shelf right now. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, I hope you guys like this model as well. Stay tuned for more tutorials, reviews and whatnot. Channel's going nice and strong, and I've got a lot planned in the short term as well as next year, so stay tuned for the next video. Catch you guys next time.